America's Home Cooking. Today I'm frying up shrimp, but we're going to have to talk about shrimp first so you understand how to get it. Most places you go to will say small, medium, and large, but you are not going to get the size shrimps that you need. Shrimps, you have stir-fry shrimps, you need the smaller ones. And then when you're going to make shrimp scampi, or you're going to bake shrimp, you need those jumbo ones. Now, restaurants have a special code to know what kind of shrimp size that they wish to get. And it's called, I'm going to get the book so I'll read it to you so you thoroughly understand it. All right. The easiest way to determine the size of shrimp that you need, we have to use restaurant measures. So if they say U10, U-10, that means under 10. All right, then you go to another size, and if it says U15, the size means under 15 per pound. So the U means under, and then the number, that's how many you want per pound. And as you go up, you'll notice you can get 16 to 20, and the terminology U-20, that means you want 20 shrimps per pound. And then you have those beautiful ones that are the jumbos. I'm looking for jumbo shrimps. I have not been able to find them. They call this jumbo. This is not jumbo. This is the U20. You see, so when you want a specific size, that's how you say it. So they know that you want that many shrimps should weigh exactly 1 pound by saying U dash whatever amount that you need. If I can find U-10, I'm going to try another fish store because they keep on telling me at ShopRite, small, medium, large, or they'll say we have a jumbo, and it's not a jumbo, it's U20, so it means you're getting under 20 per pound, but I want under 10. So be aware of that. If they say jumbo, it does not mean you're going to be getting jumbo. I'm going to use my discard because, like I told you, I'm frying this shrimp up, and this sticks like glue. That's why I like it so much. If nothing else, you should. I would tell myself, definitely keep this going, Sandy, because it really works. I think that's enough for a pound of shrimp. So I bought 1.5 pounds of shrimp. And I know they're going to shrink down in size. So what I wanted to make with them, I cannot. So I'm having to compensate for it. But anyway, in a small bowl, I just put some discard in here. Now this is a seasoned mixture that I'm going to use. They call it poultry, but it smells, good morning. What? Well, good morning anyway. This seasoning, they say it's poultry, but I made this and I wrote poultry. I don't know why I did, but it has a nice tang to it. And I just think it'll go very nice with what I'm doing today. Okay. And don't ask me what I put in this because I don't remember. And good morning, Bar, Nancy, Tiffany. So how much am I putting in here? I don't know. I don't remember the mixture, but if I make it again, it'll definitely be cropping up because I have books on different mixtures and then other books for other things. Because discard has a stronger flavor, sometimes you have to add more. Alexa, this is going to be fried shrimps. We were just talking about the size of shrimps and how to order them properly when you go to a store, a fish store. You tell them what you want. They should know what you're talking about because shrimps come in all different sizes according to what size you want. I would get the size under this 25, U25, if I was going to make a curry. I wanted bigger shrimps than this, but I'm having to change what I had planned because it's not working. Hi, Bar. Alexa. Wherever, he better. He's the one thing that's steady. So I really don't remember the seasonings, but I do have oil on to fry these up. We're waiting for it to climb. I turned it on before I turned you on to get it started. Shrimps today, fried shrimps. That's what we're making today. I did a short live yesterday to tell you what you need for Sunday at 3 p.m. to come cook with me. It's on level 3, but right now everything is public to get you to understand what to do in the kitchen. I've showed you how to clean the shrimp. So I'm going to use this crazy seasoning that was marked for poultry, and I'm going to do it here. It has like a dill smell to it, and I think it'll just be interesting with shrimps. And when I'm coating it with my discard. If you don't have a discard, you can use, believe it or not, sour cream, buttermilk. If you want to use eggs, you can, but the egg usually rolls off. I hope so, God. God bless, blessed child. Okay, Krusty. What do you mean exhausted? Hi, Nick. Hi, Sosa. Here we go again. So if you saw that video, you know what you need, and I will be on at the time stated to show you how to make butter biscuits. Actually, we'll make them together and taste them. Shrimp is good. Crust, you've been up all night? That's why you're tired? It sounds like you'd work a night shift then. All right, the oil's getting up there. We're at 140. Okay, we have to get flour. Most of the time, people will make a mixture, a batter. I didn't want to make a batter. This time I wanted to do it this way. Let's see how it comes out. I don't know. But it's 1.5 pounds that I have here. And the way he talked sounded like these were jumbo. But I weighed them out, and when I got 19, that's U20. And that wasn't what I asked for. I wanted a U10. And I didn't get what I wanted. So I was not an extremely happy camper. Synthetic, good morning. I tried. Wong told me to give it up. Does that tell you how bad it was? I'm sure I'll get a walk and I'll try making Asian food. But Wong was a chef and he told me to give it up. My husband bought books for me, but I'm a little hesitant to get into them. I think if I'm going to try something, I should try fried rice with shrimps. Hi, Miss. Good morning, Young. Okay. If you wish a religious channel, you know, you can find them. Hi, Young. I'm putting some wheat flour in a bowl. I'm going to put some white. Hi, that's a funny lollipop. Thank you. Marshmallow. That was cute. Now that I liked. No, Young, I would not. I'm not looking to date. I've already had a husband and I buried him. I had a boyfriend and he died. I'm done. And I like people, and they have to be older than me, and that would be a problem because most of them are already sick. So why bother? I hope to, Mark. So the answer would be no. I'm not even looking into dating. I don't want to play the dating game anymore. I'm sick of it. Okay? You're young. You'll learn when you get old. I bought something for one of my sons and my younger son, and he was at a bar. So I went to the bar to go give him this cookie that I bought. I thought he would like it. A regular. And they were good. I love regulars. And this young man, this young whippersnapper came after me. I was at the bar sitting there. And my son was so happy with me there. I mean, my younger son was ecstatic that my older son took me to the bar where my younger son was because I had a gift for him and I wanted to give it to him. And so what happened was this young man came in and he thought he was going to get a piece of ass from me. And I said, it ain't going. I was polite, but the bartender had given me some water to drink because I was thirsty. I wanted to finish drinking my water in peace. But this idiot was not going to leave me alone. I told him, look, I'm old enough to be your great, 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 great grandmother. So shut up, you know. So good morning to everyone. I'm still trying to get my oil hot. We have to get it up to 375, and then when we put the shrimp in, it'll drop in temperature, and then it'll come back up when the shrimp is done. And remember, shrimp cook very quickly. Newport, Virginia. Hi, Charles. And that's how I feel. I'm done with that. It's all a game. The guy wants to get into your pants, and the woman is sitting there looking for somebody who wants to care for her. I am done with all of that. It's one thing or the other. And I'm up to here with it. I don't want it. I tell people, I'll be your friend, but don't look for anything else. There's nothing else. Thank you, Young. Hello, Charles. Paisley. I can't pronounce yours, see? Shrimps. If you want a young lady, go out and find one, but leave the old girl. I don't need to be a mother to a young man. I raised my family already. What am I going to put these in? And young people are so loose anyway. I mean, these women spread their legs so fast, it's ridiculous. So I'm sure you'll find somebody to satisfy you, young man. Young, I don't care what you say. The answer's going to be no, I'm not interested. As my girlfriends and I say, We have too much to do. We don't even have time to die. You know, that's how we look at life. Listen, I have some very unique friends. You know, I love my friends. They're really great. Thanks, Charles. You're getting up there. I am going to be 7, 8, 10 years. I'm 10 years older than you. Oh my goodness. Now, they say a lot of the young men don't know how to be men because the simple fact is they don't have a father. Their mother has to raise them and they're gentle, and men have to be strong. There's a lot that takes to growing a young man into a man. I know my mother spent a lot of time raising me, that's for sure, especially with the belt. Nope, they can't. From the tap, young man. The water comes from the tap. That's right. It takes a man to raise a man, and it takes a woman to raise a woman. But now it's so mingled. I mean, it's ridiculous. Men are acting more feminine. Uh, Women are acting brutal. They don't even know what they are. They don't know how to be women. Men don't know. But anyway, I was going to talk about nutrition today. I'm not going to get into that conversation. I'll get into nutrition. A lot of women, I can say this, you're taking birth control pills. Birth control pills destroy B6, all right, in your body. Now, B6 is what keeps the pregnancy mask away, keeps morning sickness away. It's also a diuretic. A lot of the problems that you have early in pregnancy and during pregnancy, and some women never get rid of that mask, is because you have a B6 deficiency because it skyrockets. So the longer you're on birth control, you're destroying, or it's not allowing the B6 to get into your body. So your body's going to live off what it has. And then what happens is it comes to the point that shortly afterwards, you won't find B6 into your body. So it's some information to keep under your belt. Okay. All right. So we're up to 310. We've got to get up to 375. So B6 is very, very important, and people don't know that. And because you take the birth control and you're causing the B6 not to be there, it's causing an imbalance of the other Bs, because you have to take all the Bs together. You know, that's why I use a lot of whole wheat. And I'll eat bulgur, brown rice, and stuff to make sure we get these things. But the thing is that because you take the birth control pill, you can't get the B6 into your body. So whatever B6 you have, your body utilizes until it runs out. And then because you're not taking the B6 to compensate for that, you end up with an imbalance. But if you take the B6 by itself, you cause the other imbalances. So this is why you have to be careful. When I had to go on, because I had a hormonal imbalance, I had to take it for about a year or two. I hated taking birth control pills. I did not like them. I swelled up because I knew it was destroying the B6 in my body. We are literally having fried shrimp today. Uh, well, that's because there's an imbalance. You take the birth control, it destroys and will allow B6 into your body. Then the other bees go into haywire, and then you end up with these new diseases. Good morning, Shane. No, just passed by saying hello and have a great stream. Not sure what you're cooking. We're having shrimp today. Okay, listen, not everybody likes everything. Okay, we're almost up there. I am like 4 degrees off. So the shrimp are going to be coated in whole wheat flour and all-purpose. And I'm only going to do a few at a time. 80. Yeah, we got about 2 more degrees. So we're going to put it at 375 before we put them in, so they will really fry up crisp and nice. Okay, we're there. All right, you're going to drop down. Okay, you're dropping. Thank you. You're going to hold it on. I'm just browning them right now. 16, oh, we're close to it. Drop down about 8 degrees. Okay. Yes, I'm still making James on Sunday. I did a video to tell everybody in case they didn't hear me the times I did say it, but biscuits are definitely coming out. I don't know how they're going to taste, but the seasonings smell good, so we'll find out. All right, climb. You have to wait till the temperature gets back up to 375, and then we'll fry it again. Oh, I'm sure if you've got a hubby as a chef, I'm sure you eat very well. There are some young women who want to be women. They love being women. Then you have those other ones that are, say, I'm liberated, I'm this. There's different ones. I remember you could tell looking, and we all had to wear dresses and stockings and everything, and how that woman, how a young lady conducted herself would tell you what kind of wife you were going to get if you married. You could see the ones who were determined. They were going to make their own way. They didn't care about anybody else. But common sense, if you have common sense, you can work things out. We're going to get ready to have stuffed pork chops, probably next week. Thank you for the heart, Alex. No, it's funny, but I was taught a woman would have to, I had to learn, I should say, my mother taught me that when you marry, you have to live in your husband's income of what he makes. He's doing the best he can, and as he moves up, things get better. So you have to learn to be able to cut corners. and make things work and keep the nutrition up. I mean, at one point, I had to sit there and, this was a hard time at one time. We were sleeping on the floor. We had cardboard on the floor, boxes of cardboard, and from there we put a 4-inch sponge on top of it because we were just getting started. So you see all the equipment I have now and stuff that I'm using, but remember there was a time I had to use a soup spoon as my tablespoon for cooking, and the spoon you use for your coffee literally as my teaspoon. And the 1/4 and the 1/2 I had to use my adjustment and think about it. Yeah, I did. And when I got real sick and I was dying, he was fighting for my life. And he stood by me, thick and thin, and I stood by him. And we didn't keep secrets from each other. We were very honest. And I didn't hesitate to tell him that somebody tried to kiss me. He went after the guy. I don't know what happened. I didn't stick around. As they said, I let him take care of business, you know. And he let people know, you don't touch me. The men could look, but don't you dare. There was one church man that always waited till my husband was gone, and he wanted in the house, and I wouldn't let him. It's 7:17. I'm running late this morning again. I wouldn't think about running around on my husband. I loved him too much. He was my world. He gave me a choice if I wanted to work or not. He said, if you work, we're not having any children because nobody else is going to raise our children but us. And I told him that's what I wanted. His father was going to pay for my college at Smith College. I told him I was pregnant. I didn't want to go to college. I wanted to have my family. Funny, the things that all of people my age learn, people don't know today, and it's so funny to hear them. And they look at me, how did you learn? I had to. I had to learn how to wash clothes properly, subdivide them. I had to learn how to mend. One time I had to crawl into a trash can, get a bedspread, and it was all torn up and shredded in the trash. And I had to hand sew it. I didn't have a sewing machine at the time. Needle and thread. Learned that too. I learned how to make coffee, that it was a cup of water to a tablespoon of coffee, because we couldn't afford a percolator, so we just had a regular old-fashioned pot, coffee pot, and we put it on the stove, and I had to learn how to cook that way and not burn the coffee, but make a nice pot and then let the coffee grains settle and then strain it each cup that we have. And whatever coffee was left, you took it off the stove, of course, when you both had your coffee, and then we would sit there and I would have to save the coffee that was in that pot. And when we wanted coffee again, we just heated it up. Alexa, I'm a widow now. I don't know how these are going to taste with the seasonings I put on them, but we'll find out. Okay. No, women have to get back to doing what they're supposed to do. The young women use everything instant. That's why I say if anything happens in this country, we're going to be up the creek without a paddle. A lot of men don't know how to do woodworking and stuff. They don't know. They know computers, but if the computers go, let's just say the computers go, and you can't buy food in the store, the grocery stores and everything collapse. What are you going to do? You don't know. It's going to be a bad scene. And if women, you're pregnant, and the Bible talks about this, this will be a time when cannibalism will be because there will be no food. It's very poignant about that. And they will kill the baby to eat it. I mean, I could see how bad it could get. Not that I would want it to be that way, but we're headed in that way. And the young people of today are not going to be equipped. And how are they going to be able to teach their children? Because they don't know. It'll be like starting from scratch all over again. But there'll be no food. There's going to be no energy, no nothing. I mean, you can plan for doomsday all you want, but it's only going to last so long. We have to get it back up again. That's right. Well, Beck, you're very good. It is a shame. Oh, no, look, nobody would want me to run for office for anything. I already know that. All right, we're almost up there again. We just have to get it hot again. I want to try one of these. You know, I did sit there. Well, we'll find out. I like them. I like that dill taste. All right, these will make a hit with me. I can't remember the seasoning mixture. I'll have to find it. That's how crunchy they are. Thank you. You want to know where I got the apron? I got it from Amazon. I don't know if they have the same design now. So I needed an apron, so I finally did it. No, I only went to a bar. I don't go to bars. And my son said, I'll wait outside. My older son, I said, Sean, I can't walk into a bar without being escorted. So he said, but Mommy, I don't want to go in. I said, I need you to go in with me so I can go into the bar. Yeah. Okay, here we go again. So he went in with me so I could give my other son something. But I don't go into bars. I have stood at bars when I was told to go get the Godfather. He was in the bar having vodka, and I couldn't go in there. And a man came out and said, do you have a problem? I said, I've talked to him. He said, well, come in. I said, I can't unless I'm escorted. So he escorted me in so I could tell the Godfather that Tony was waiting for him. I couldn't go in. I know. A bar is not a place to see men. That is not a place to go. Yeah. Okay, the saddest day was when I had to put my husband down. And he made me promise when I was a teenager. Promise me you'll do this. One time I told them, all his friends are older than him, and I was the baby in the lot of everybody. And they were always telling me, be quiet and listen, be quiet and listen, be quiet and listen. And I stood up one day and I said, that's it. One day I'm going to be older than all of you. And they said, yes, and all of us will be dead. They're right. Okay, these are really good. I was surprised this came out. I have to be honest. I might make some, I don't know if I don't have any rose water. That's what I need for my jasmine rice that I want to make. Okay. Well, I got the shrimp done. I always take my oil off the burner because that burner is still hot and it'll keep heating that oil. I take it off and put it on a cool one. I take it off completely. No fried shrimp. 40 years. 40 years he died, and 2 years later I ended up with a boyfriend, and he died 10 years later. So I am like, okay. That was it. And what really bothered me was my girlfriend got a boyfriend. And he tried kissing me, and I do not play those games. I told him to get away from me. I don't even talk to him now. She told me, Sandy, could you please be civil? Okay. I said good morning. What more do you want out of me? You know, I can be cold if I have to protect myself. I'll tell you the way my husband told me, but I'll say some other things afterwards to give you a better idea. He said, in a marriage, you give 90 and only take 10. All right? I'm going to tell you exactly what marriage is. Marriage is sacrifice on both parties. Both parties. If you can't work together and know your roles, it's not going to work. She has her own job and you have your own job. And women say, well, I have my own checking and my husband has his own checking account and saving. That's not unity. All what you're doing is having sex, and that's it. You might as well just live together at that point or date. That's not a marriage. It's really not. But marriage is a lot of sacrifice. Isaac, you can call me stupid all you want. Okay? But that's it. It's like he said, you give 90 and you take 10. You know? I was so good that I trusted my husband. This is a lot of trust, and most women say, oh, he did something. I trusted my husband because he was an artist. He worked at a hospital. He had to work at the hospital, he said, like, Sandy, artists are poor people. I said, who are you telling? You guys can't pay me anything except to feed me food. So I knew that. And so he worked at the hospital to make sure we had a steady income. But he painted nudes. And he went to their homes and painted. So, and I trusted him. A lot of you women said, I wouldn't. She's going to be sitting there nude. Mm-mm. But I did. Oh, okay, Isaac. Forgiveness, that depends upon you and karma. My husband, he did some stupid things. I did some stupid things, okay? Especially when he made that meal. I told him nobody was going to eat it. The strays wouldn't eat it. We did a lot of things together. We agreed on punishment. When we pulled the children out of school, I became the teacher for the younger ones. And when they got older, he took over teaching them. So we were too busy trying to make ends meet. We had our good times and we had our bad times. We had our good times, we enjoyed it. But giving, you don't sit there and say how much forgiveness or how much I'm going to give. When you really love somebody with all their faults, my husband used to say baggage, with all the baggage you come with, you will be in love. If you're infatuated with the sex or just the way they look or something, the marriage is going to fall apart. Society will try to pull you apart very, very fast. What you have to do is stay strong, you two together. If you have children and they're in school, you question those teachers. Do not let them pamper you. Say, oh, your child is doing so well, and then you get a letter in the mail 2 days later, he's not doing or she's not doing well. No, you corner it. If you have to go to that school because you don't like what they're teaching, you stand up for your child. If they still insist upon teaching them stuff that you do not want, you pull them out and you take an IHIP, which is an individual home instruction plan. And what you have to do is every year you have to let them go through and see what you're going to teach them to make sure that your child keeps on learning. And they have found out the IHIP programs that parents are doing, these children are more responsible. They are higher educated and everything else. Our sons were, 16 and 14, and they tested them. The first one was 4 years out of college, and our little one was 2 years into college. That was just on IHIP, individual home instruction plans. So if you want to teach your children, but it takes a lot of work and effort to put into it and spending time with them, this is where the unity of the family has to come together. But if have your children in school and you say, well, I have a job, I can't because we have bills. Believe you me, I have bills. I'm paying a mortgage up. I got the water. I've got credit cards. I hate spending money on the credit cards, but I do it. I'm a wicked person. All of that I have to do, okay? You just learn to make it and sacrifice. Well, we won't take a vacation this year. Instead, I'll stay home and we'll do other things together as a family. We used to sit there and take time with our sons, and we would take them to the park. We took them to museums and stuff as well. We watched educational programs. All of this was involved, but we always made it fun with everything that we were doing, so the children were quick to learn. So you have to decide, well, if you want life insurance, knock yourself out. I'm going to tell you right now, you know what life insurance is? All right, let's say you've got a life insurance for $500,000, right? Maybe $250,000, and you're paying it up, right? The man's paying this because he wants to make sure that his wife and children are cared for. I'm going to tell you exactly where that money goes. First off, you have to get an attorney. You're going to have to go to court because all those billers are going to run to the courts and tell that you're not paying the bills. Now, the court is not going to jump on a 30-day. We're talking a couple of years. This gives the businesses time to know what's going on. He's not paying his bills. They find out. They have people who search and they find out you're dead. Okay, then they find out you got life insurance because you got to take all those papers to court. The life insurance, what you have in savings, what you have in checking, what you have invested, and all of this has to come to the court. And then what the court does. Now, remember, you've got an attorney. You've got to pay him. You also have to pay the court, and you're going to pay the judge, and he's going to liquidate all of that. And what he's going to do first is they're going to take their cut. Then all your billers get paid. That's in your name. You, the dead person. So all that money you're saving up and thinking is protecting your children and your family is not. She's not going to see the money. Your billers are going to get it. And if, by the grace of God, there's any left over, she gets it. But then when she gets it, she has to file for taxes. You don't. So you're wasting a lot of money. I have a life insurance for burial and that's it. And they keep on trying to tell me, don't you want it higher? I said, no, I want to be cremated, make it quick, fast, that's it. You know? So you don't know what they're doing. But they have you thoroughly convinced that you need that. And that's what goes on with life insurance. Now, I want to do some bacon with kale with this dish. Oh, I need a cutting board. I'll use this. Nah. Yeah, probate. You have to go to court. I'm not lying. You have to pay the probate court. When I say an attorney and a judge, I don't care what court you're in. Look, I went through it. All right. I already know what they do. And as soon as my husband died, they sat there and said, oh, life insurance. I said, why do I need life insurance? Well, you're going to have a funeral and you have to pay for a plot. I said, no, I cremated my husband and I put him in the yard. Okay. He's cremated. He's gone. You know? Yes, I did have to go, Blondie. Don't call and notice the creditors, and that's when you let. Yeah, well, anyway. And that's why I won't open a restaurant. They want everything their way, this way. You have to do this. We're going to come and check the rest. The dishes have to, they're going to check everything. And then they said, we'll give you a card and you can shop here for the food. Why? What, canned food? No. So I figured the best way to help people. And besides, I only wanted to feed 15 people. And I thought that was a nice idea. You know, make it quaint and home. In other words, come and have some hors d'oeuvres before dinner. And then after dinner or before dinner, have a cocktail time for the husbands who want to have their drinks. And the children could go into the yard and play out with it. And then they could come in and eat. And I'd only serve 15 people. But when they got done, I said, I am not doing it. My husband said, you're getting ripped off. I said, I know. Why do I even want to bother having a restaurant? But then YouTube came out. Makes life easier. Okay. That doesn't smell like shrimp. Okay, we got kale here. That's my name. I'm just telling you how it is, okay? That's all I'm doing is telling you how it is. They can lie to anybody else, but you're not lying to me. Already went through it. So I make it very simple for my sons, A, B, C, D. And when I feel like I'm getting ready to go, I'll add their names to the deed. So they'll own property. And I said, I made fun with them. I said, gee, I'm making everything easy for you guys. If they don't want the house, they can sell it, but it'll be in their name and we won't have to go through probate court. And another thing, if they sell it, they can split the money. Now, if one wants to stay and keep the house, they can keep it, and the other one can sell his half to his brother. So I thought it all out. I said, no, they don't follow through. That's their fault. But at least I'm giving them an idea, you know. But like they said, you're not going, are you? I said, no, I haven't seen it yet. But I love my girlfriend. She said, I'm too busy. I don't have time to die. And I started laughing. I said, oh, you're being funny. Sam, I don't care what you say. I'm talking about things I've been through. I've seen a lot. You don't live 73 years and not know something. Well, if you're in prison, I guess you'd only know prison point of view, but we had a partner with a business. She embezzled $800,000, left us dry and high. We lost everything except the clothes on our back. And they came to the house. Yeah, so I set up very nicely. The only thing I was going to pay for insurance is for cremation, and that's about $5,000, you know. And that'll be paid up in about 5 years. I have small, low payments, and that's it. Now, medication, I don't take medicine. The only thing I have in my medicine is Band-Aids. I'm constantly cutting my fingers. If I'm not stabbing them with needles and pins and everything. So that's what I have in my medicine cabinet. If you're on medicine, I can tell, and you're a senior, most of your pay goes there. And they don't give you much to eat, so you can't even get your health back. So that's it. Like, I know I'm a bad driver, okay? I'm very bad. I'm a lead foot. I mean, in Texas, it's 85 during the day, 75 at night. I mean, come on. The town's on the horizon. You want to get there and get back in time and after you finish your shopping, you know? So I have my original student, first driver's license. I drove in Texas, but I don't drive anymore because I know I'm a bad driver. And I window shop. Can you imagine somebody like me behind a wheel in a shopping area with all those stores going up and down the street? The car is going to go where I'm looking. I can't afford to be a driver. I'd be a very bad driver. In the country, I usually pull over. Yeah, James. Yeah, I grew up in Texas. And I can pull over on the curb and sit there and pick flowers, you know, or if I want to take a picture and park the car. But you can't do that. Not on a busy street. Not in the metropolitan area. You can't do that. You have to find a parking place, and they'll park the car for you, charge you an arm and a leg for it. Okay, we got that done. I know you guys are going to start yelling at me very shortly for something, but I don't care. I need to get to my bacon. But my bacon is frozen. I have to buy some more wild boar bacon. This is too good. What am I? I fried the shrimp up with poultry seasonings, but it smelled so good anyway. Bacon, you say? Yes. So now we're going to cook with kale and bacon, but this is wild boar bacon. This is my last pound. I have to buy more of this. This is so good. But they make you buy 5 pounds at once. So I said, okay, I'll buy 5 pounds, stick it in the freezer, and take what I want when I need it. The problem is with this wild boar is I didn't take it out last night. So you know I've got frozen boar. I'm just hoping 1 or 2 pieces come off so I can work with it. Go there. Let's see if I can get some pieces off, and I'll stick this back in the freezer. Okay. It adds up to 2 pieces, okay? And the rest is frozen. I'm not going to get any more off, so that's it. Freezer time. So anyway, wild boar bacon is a treat and a half. My son told me this morning, Mommy, this is getting bad. I said, what's getting bad? He said, the more I cook, the more I can smell what everybody's been eating. It's on their breath. You can smell it. I said, yes, you can. Okay. I was ordered. I was literally ordered. That's why I went into another relationship. I only had to do it once, and I did. And I listened. And I said, that's it, no more. Yes, I have had buffalo. Yes, by my husband. And I'm not going to say I didn't love the second man. I did. I did. They both a gem. The only part that floored me is they were both Indians, which really floored me. I had a West Indian, and then my boyfriend was an American Indian. That was the only thing they had in common, but they were both very kind, very, very responsible. And that's what I loved about them. My husband was a Rhodes Scholar. My boyfriend wasn't as intelligent, but he cared, and he cared deeply, and he loved deeply. My husband, I loved him more. I spent more years with him. But remember, love doesn't die either. Just because the body dies, they don't die. All right, you get a pot, and we're going to add a little bit of oil to it. You said, but you got bacon. Yeah, we're going to add oil. Okay. You're going to kill me. Please don't put this stuff in my refrigerator. I don't have that kind of oil. Okay, I'm going to get you over here. I'd like to have jasmine rice, but I don't have any rose water for jasmine rice. All right, I have very little oil in this. I'm going to put some oil in here, and we're going to get this pot very, very warm. I'm thinking about making cantaloupe muffins. Now I'm going to give all of you a chance to help with that recipe. What kind of nuts do you think I should put with them? And think of all kinds of different nuts we have. What kind do you think would go well with cantaloupe muffins? My feelings are intact. What do you mean, OGT? He had trouble with me, my boyfriend, because I I have a gift of sight. That means I can see things before they happen if it's important that I'm supposed to know. And he had problems with that. We were one time talking at the fence because he couldn't come over and he had things he had to do. Thank you very much. Jake. And what happened was, I'm talking to him here, and I'm getting this, somebody standing here. And I look. He looks. There's nobody. He doesn't see anybody. I see the person, not him. And he says something, and I said, can I ask you a private question? It's a little personal. He goes, what is it? Because he knew when I started saying that, I was going to get very personal on him. I said, I don't want to ask you this, but they're saying something about foster care. Have you ever been in foster care? He said, no. And I said, oh, okay. And he said, why did you ask? I said, somebody standing here and told me that they used to lock him up in foster care. They used to lock him up into a closet and didn't feed him, and he had to stay there all night in the dark. And he's talking about the older boys used to beat him up. And I was telling him all this information that this person that I can see talking. And he told me, Sandy, you're talking about my father. I said, why is your father here? He says, I don't know. I found out later. He hugged me one day, and I saw blood in the lungs. I said, oh God, please, don't tell me he's dying. And I saw a lot of blood, and I couldn't erase the image, and I could see how the lungs were collapsing and bleeding and this gunk, and really gunky. 2 years later, his mother died of lung cancer, and that's what I saw, and I didn't know what I had seen. So I have that side. That's what gave us a problem. Now, my husband, he went to the school without walls so he could keep up with me. You know, because it's hard for men to know when a stranger comes up to you and starts talking to you, and they're reading your life, and you get very uncomfortable with it. But sometimes people do this because they want you to know that God loves you. Our loved ones come to tell you they're coming for somebody. Now, 2 years before he died, I never saw his wife. And every time he came, I keep on seeing this man, and I could smell him. I said he has a butterfly on his right shoulder in the back. I don't know who the woman it was for, but that's what he had. I said, never saw his wife. I described his wife. And I said, your wife just finished having sex on your couch. And I see this sex toy that because I don't know this stuff. I said, I see a sex toy. I said, do you know who I'm talking about? He said, no. 2 years later, he found out his wife was having the affair, and he found the toy that I saw 2 years ahead of time. And I had never met her, never been to his home. Didn't know anything. Now that we've got the bacon crisp, oh, God, I don't want to burn the bacon. All right, we've got the bacon. This gives kale a very lovely flavor. And it's a beautiful green vegetable. Now you're going to stir it around until it wilts and it gets its color. I saw the butterfly before he passed because I told him about it. I told him his wife was having an affair. I kept telling him this. Who is this man she's having an affair with? He finally found out. But I never went to where he lived. He never talked about her. But I told him. Who is it? We were friends for a good while. Oh, that's that stupid air in the pipes again. You'll see how the kale is turning green, a beautiful darker green. Yeah, I don't want to burn the bacon. Now the bacon's going to give it salt flavor, the smoky flavor that you're looking for. I just want to finish turning this around and get it all coated. Once it's all coated, you'll have this beautiful green, and then we're going to add a little bit of water to it. Like I said, you don't have to drown your vegetables and cook everything out of them. And you see how it's diminishing as it cooks? The object is that you don't want to add more than 1/4 of an inch, especially when you do greens. Now I'm not adding any more salt till after this has cooked, okay? And we're going to test the stems, is how we're going to know if it's done. Now this is boiling, so I'm going to turn it way down. By turning it down with that little bit of water, what you're doing is actually steaming your vegetables. Okay? And that way. 14, 2 weeks of turning 15 is when I met my husband. Hi, down by. Okay, James. At least you're going to make sure she's safe. I really wanted jasmine rice with this. I'm going to have to find something that I want with it. Rye English muffins would not go well with this. Dang. Thinking. Yeah, this should do. It does not get another bowl. Why not? I got plenty of them. So we have to wait for that, and I don't know what I want to serve with it as a starch. I've got to come up with a starch. Yes, we cooked bacon and kale, and then we seasoned up. I do not know the seasonings of the mixture. We're going to serve it with fried shrimp. Oh, listen, I want to put a pantry back here. I want to get rid of this storage room, cut it so I can get more light out of my bedroom, out of my kitchen windows, and put the pantry there so I can go around. Because I don't have room. I store stuff under beds, underneath sinks, wherever I can. So it gives me a hard time. So I know what you're talking about, Blondie. It's frustrating. Now you do have to keep your eye on the kale because it might burn. But what we're going to do is take the paring knife, this little knife, and we're going to stab into the stem and twist it. If you can stab it and go in and twist it and it parts, it's done. Don't check the leaves. That guy, yeah, well, my kitchen isn't the greatest. I have a 2 feet by 3 foot area to work. I have counters over there, but I've got canning jars I've got to put up. I've got my pasta machine over there, my mixer over there, and there's just no room. And then over there I got the ice cream. But in another room I had my paella and my chocolate machine. I have my knives over there. I sat there and had my dehydrator by my knife. Listen, I have no room in here. And then I have the china closet. And underneath I've got stuff under there too. I just don't have room for anything. When I was a little girl, I knew I was going to have children. Okay. Yeah, I don't. I don't. Beck, I don't have room. I work at it, but it doesn't mean I have it. But I make it work. I've learned to do that. My mother said, you're not always going to get when you start out in life what you want. I said, okay. Oh, when did we start having children? Uh, Shoot, almost right away. Almost right away. I was in my 20s. My husband was in his 30s. I knew my husband since I was 2 weeks before turning 15. I chased him all over the place, and he was in the service. It was very hard to keep track of a serviceman. I'd ask his friends, how is he? Oh, he's fine. They all let him know, she's after you. So he ran. He ran all the way from me right into my arms. I got him. Yeah. So even our neighbor, he was talking to my younger son. He said, man, I had a good job. I had my car. I had my apartment. I had clothes up the yin yang. And I was at the bar with my friends, and she just had to walk into the bar. She walked into the bar, and look at me now. She owns the closet, the house. She owns everything. He said, but the one thing I do own, and he said, is this on her ass. That's what he said. After marriage and kids, and your kids are grown, I can tell you, usually sickness follows. Uh, if you're not careful, this is why I so desperately trying to show people how they can cook and hold on to their health so when they get old, they can enjoy it in old age. Because once you start taking medication, there's no end to it. And then comes the test. And then they have to draw more bloods. And then they have to do this, if not surgery. And then after that, you'll notice that that lovely nest egg you have for retirement ends up going to the wayside. Medical bills, doctors, your insurance only pays a portion of it. They do not pay 100% of it. My husband had the VA. He also had Blue Cross Blue Shield and another one before they said you could only have two. And they only paid a portion. And I was writing checks. I could not believe we were lucky if we had money for food when I got done writing checks. If an ambulance comes for you, they maybe pay 20, but you have to pay that ambulance. Yeah, that's what people have to look forward to. I thought, man, now this is a mistake I made. I thought that medication worked with nutrition. So this was a stupid thing that I believed very much in. So I figured my husband was taking his medication and I was cooking nutritionally that this would work. Now, he was getting worse and worse and finally came to the point where the doctors said, just put him in a nursing home and let him die. I said, no, he's coming home. That's another thing they want to do. If you have a vet or somebody, what they want to do in your insurance, they'll sit there and say, when they get to a certain point, they say it's too much for you to care for the family, so put them into the nursing home. This is your mate. They will tell you to do this, and then you don't know it. But if he is the income, if you put him in a nursing home, his disability, his insurance, and everything will go to the nursing home, and you are left with nothing. And a nurse told me that. She said, you take your husband home. Because all they want is the money. Okay. I said, okay. And I took them home. Oh, they do. They do. When it's that bad, they'll say, we can't do any more for him. Yeah, and that's when it comes out too. So when my husband died, I decided to get a hold of. He wouldn't let me see. He made me promise, don't look at the PDR. This is a physician's desk reference. Now, in a physician desk reference, gives you all the counter actions to all the medications that you have, and it also explains that if you mix certain medicines up, the side effects of them. So now they're giving you, if you're reacting to a medication, they sit there and give you a medication to prevent the reaction. And that was it. And I started reading it. And as I was reading it, I got so mad. I threw the book. I don't even know if I still have it. I might have thrown it out and ripped the pages off. I was so mad. But you can't buy this book, a PDR, because they only give them to doctors because they want to keep you ignorant. They don't want you to really know what's going on. And medication, very few medications actually cure. All right? Most of them cover up, but the deterioration is still going on the inside. Yeah, they take it. It's right there. But see, young people don't know that. We're going to have to check the kale and check and see if there's water. There's still water. I'll show you how I test the kale so you can learn. Okay, just give me a minute and I'll turn you down. Parents don't agree to allow children to do what they do. It's the government that has stepped in and is now proceeding to tell you how to raise your children. I'm glad I didn't grow up at that time. No, it's still hard. So it's not done yet, but you can see I got very little fluid in here. I might add some more. Wait a minute. Is it done? See, I'll stab it like this, and then I'll turn it. It's done. That's how you know. I'll do 2 or 3 because they're different sizes here. Yep, they're done. They're not soggy. They're going to be a little crunchy in the stem, but they're going to be very, very nice. Okay? Oh, too many of you are talking at the same time. Yeah, you do get cramps after eating. Yes. Parents are soft because federal government and the school teaches them that if your parents don't get what you want, telling children this, you call BCW, and they give them the number. And if you go to family court, a social worker will come and tell them, if you don't get money and stuff that you want, you call me and I'll make sure your parents get it. They threatened to take our children away, and my son, and well, he wanted something, his father said no, and he said, well, I'm going to call BCW. He was little. I mean, he wasn't even in the 4th grade. And my husband I looked in total shock that he said that. And then my husband said, go ahead and call him. Go ahead and call him. Here, I'll give you the phone. When you get done talking to them and you hang up, I'm going to kill you. I brought you into this world and I'll dispatch your fucking ass. He never called them. Never. And that's the truth. For a minute there, I thought I was going to lose my husband and my child. And I was like, oh! You know? You're going to fit in this ball? Let's see if we can get it in this ball. taffy, I see. No, you're not getting any more shrimp. You got one already this morning. Let's see. It's a beautiful green here. Oh, you see the kitty? Yeah. That's Taffy. His brother's asleep upstairs. I think I'm just going to have to make plain rice. I'm not going to be happy about that. I'm going to have to go to a Middle Eastern store and get some rose water, because I know they sell it there. I don't know what's going on. They have repairs over there. What's ever going on? I'm going to show you how much water is left doing it this way. That's how much water is left. That's how I cook my kale. Isn't that a beautiful green? Yes, we were on the same page. We were both raised with severe punishment growing up. We learned responsibilities and everything else. Both of us were hit. No, it's special. When I say rose water, it's a special rose that you have to grow to make rose water from, not the regular roses that you know. And I don't have that plant, I think. No, I don't. So I'm gonna make, God, I'm trying to think of how I want to do my rice. Maybe I'll do it with scallions. How's that? Chop up some scallions, saute them a bit, put into bacon. You guys didn't answer my question. Everybody's different. Oh, I was raised, believe you me, my mother, and I mean this, my mother, if a cop upset her, she was a good Italian, she'd hit him too. Don't give her a ticket. You know, my mother hit everybody. She was, she was a tyrant. My husband didn't believe it until a woman put down bags like my mother, and I froze. And my husband said, "Come on, Sandy." And I said, "I can't move. I've done something wrong." I mean, she brought the memory back that strong. I mean, down, down, don't you dare. Yes, I use vodka when I make my vanilla. Okay. No, I use vodka for it. I'm going to have to make some again once I finish up this bottle, and I'll let it sit for a year. Maybe I have a bottle in there. I don't know. I haven't gone through that section of food yet that I've done. I'm really thinking about what I want to do with this rice. I mean, we can dress rice up, all right? It's like anything else. You can make it work one way or another. You just have to think how you want to do it. Yeah, I know I have bacon on this too. I'm using one cutting board. I know somebody's going to scream, "You can't do that." Watch me. Because I'm not cooking food, I'm cooking for my family. I don't know why they do this. So I'm going to use scallions with the rice since I don't have any rose water. A lot of people don't think of it. They just think that you can just make rice plain or something like that. Now, if you buy jasmine rice in the store, I looked it up and I investigated this, so don't think I'm coming off the cuff with this. They use chemicals to give you that flavor. Now, I have, when I get rose water and all, I'll show you how you can make it with butter and rose water and make your own flavor of jasmine. And balsamic is the same thing. They're using chemicals to give those flavors. We'll cut the roots off. Trim the tops because they're always dry. Just a little bit. You don't have to take it off. Yeah, my father handed the check over to my mother. But she had to make it work, and she did. We ate every day. We had lots of food. My mother was not cheap on food. But my mother could balance a book. I tried. But when it comes to food, my husband, because he was a vet, and most vets are like this, food, because they go long times without eating in a war zone. So their top priority with any money they get is FOOD, food. They will not skimp on it. They will give you money to feed and he expects you to cook and put that food out. And if you don't, it doesn't work. But like they say, way to a man's heart is through his stomach, and I believe it. So, good advice for a marriage. Let's see. What do we do? Get to know them, not the good sex or bad sex. Get to know them, their family, and then you'll know what you're up against. My father worked his tail off to make sure. And remember, $30 was a lot of money at that time. My mother could fill a shopping cart top and bottom and having us carrying stuff, and she spent less than $20. And she made everything from scratch. My grandfather did. Nonu did. Yes, I had to learn how to clean. My first job was cleaning the toilet. You have to make that judgment call. I can't tell you A, B, C, or D, but as you get to see the family and how they respond and work together, and talk to them. Tell them about your past, your dreams, hopes, and they do the same thing, you will find out a lot about a person. When I met my husband for the first time, he was serving me a Coke at the Wonderful World of Art. I didn't pay much mind because I was sitting with my mother at the time. And my mother said, 2 Cokes, please. And it was a big treat to have Coke, by the way. It wasn't an everyday thing. So I was really excited about it. And when he handed me the Coke, I looked up to say thank you. But what I said was, "You're my knight in shining armor." He thought I was off my bats. But that was the key to tell him who I was. But he didn't know. But what was funny is he had done paintings before he went into the military, and they hung all over his parents' homes because that's where he lived. The paintings all looked like me. And he had never met me. So we seem to have known each other. We really know each other. I wonder how bacon, now here I go. I wonder how bacon would go. I should just use oil. Okay. I wonder if the mushrooms would go nice with this. So it seemed that my husband and I knew each other. I met him 2 weeks before I was 15, and he was a young soldier. Well, he wasn't. He was a first lieutenant, so he was up there in rank. And he was a corpsman in the Special Forces, Forced Recon. And he ran for me, a little girl. Well, I have some brown mushrooms left. I don't want to waste them. So I'm going to use scallions and mushrooms in the rice and see how it comes out. And I don't know if it's going to work, but we're going there. 8 years. Now remember, all this is in the past. All right. I'm going to try to get rid of mushrooms. They're in the refrigerator. We'll see what we can come up with rice. This might not work, but we're going to give it a try. Yeah, I make cookies too. Jiu-jitsu, yes. My son takes it. All right, Jeffrey. All right, let's roll. Coming to the end of the week, so we're trying to get rid of everything. But I do not know how this is going to taste. All right, we have scallions. We'll slice these mushrooms up a bit. We'll throw it all in, put it with the rice, and see what we come up with. At least we'll have the earthy flavor, because the brown mushrooms have more of an earth flavor to them. And they're going to shrink anyway when you cook them. So you don't have to mince them really, really fine. My mother and I had it out at that time. I haven't spoken with her since. Okay? I didn't care what she thought. Believe it or not, he was 7 years younger than me. Which was a bit of a problem for me. I had to learn to deal that he knew what he was talking about. And he had to learn to deal with my gifts, which frightened him. I said, they're never there to hurt you. It's always there to help. And I call them gifts because they come from God, so therefore they're blessings to help. That one's too old. This one's fine. There's always an adjustment, but we talked a lot. I think marriages work when you sit there and you talk before anything else, and you keep yourself for that very special person, you know? That's just me. I walked away from my mother. I didn't talk to her. I was in the house in her home 2 more years, and I just quit talking to her. If she told me to do something, I did it. I just quit talking. She threw me out of the house. All right, what do you want, Taffy? I'm heating a pan up. I'm going to bring you over. Now remember, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't even know what it's going to taste like, but we're going to try it. Yeah, you can walk away from your parents. You know what the Bible states. If you're religious, it says you cleave to your husband, you walk away from your family. And that's what I did. I walked. I didn't want to be hurt anymore. I got tired of being hurt. I got tired of being told. I couldn't do anything. One time she told me to make a tea bread. I messed the whole thing up intentionally. I didn't care. And she was angry. But you know what? I didn't care. So I put some oil in here. Porter, Texas. Okay, James. The only thing I say about my mother is she did something, it's the worst thing you could do to a daughter. And that's as far as it goes there. But the hurt, and they both let me know they didn't want me. So I knew, it was just a matter of time. When I get away from my mother, after I walked away, she took me to court. Tried to prove me insane. Yeah, you don't believe what parents will do. If nothing else, my rice is going to be very colorful. I know why she did it. I'm just not telling you why. I know why she did it. No, she did not succeed. I don't know. We'll see in a bit. I said I know why. I was warned she was going to do it. So I had to cut her off. Okay, Happy, go get your coffee. I was warned she was going to do it to me. And she didn't know that I knew. And when I finally told her that I knew, she reached across the table and tried to strangle me to death. we're almost done. This will be the last dish we'll be making. And that will be it. I might serve pickled beets with it to give it some color, or maybe pickled fennel. So, wait a minute, I got pickled pumpkin. Ooh, we might try that. No, what she did was not normal. No, it was not normal what she did. We're waiting for the mushrooms, liquid to cook down. That's all right, sorry. Back in. Maybe. Dessert later. I don't know. I had asked everybody what nuts do you think would go well with cantaloupe. Oh, I just thought it was being stubborn. None of you have given me an idea, and I've got a lot of different nuts in the house. In the refrigerator, I thought maybe you would help me decide which nut would go well with it. Because I want to make cantaloupe muffins, and I know I'm going to add nutmeg as the seasoning, the flavor of them, okay? But I can't put my mind to what nut I should do it with. You think pecans would go well? Sorry? I came with it from the earth. It's been with me my whole life. Okay, pecans it'll be. I'm going to toast them because I want a little bit of that oily flavor to them, that sweet oil. I've got to make my salt mixture. Okay. I got to rinse this. What am I doing? This is going to be an unusual rice, so why not? I'm using leftover this, that, and whatever else I can find. Let me get some salt. You know, I understood the punishments I got, okay? They kept me in line to where I became a responsible human being. Oh, thank you. Scallions and mushrooms, and it's because I had leftover mushrooms, you know. I've got to get my stock. I've salted it. But doesn't it look colorful? Okay. Ugh. Now, if you want to know what I poured in here, I poured whey in because I made cottage cheese. I had the whey, and I used some whey with water to cook this. You'd have to say it does look colorful, brown, and I'm using parboiled rice. So you have the brown and the green and the tan. I think it'll taste good if nothing else. It looks good. Oh no, we all got whipped on Saturday. But the one thing that she did to me that my brothers don't even know that she did, but they went through their own trauma. My younger brother told me what she did. He said, I was, Sandy, I'm a full grown ass man, and I was going to go to Switzerland with a girl that I had. Mom had me so confused that I left the woman I loved and ran back to her. I said, yeah, you have to walk away from her. My older brother, Mama's boy, when she died, he was telling me about it, that she died. He said, you can't mention your name. She cursed you out. We couldn't say your name. I said, that's all right. No skin off my back. And he was upset with me. He said, she's dead. I said, well, I hope she's learned her lessons. I hope that whatever karma she had, she's overcome, and that she's a better person. She didn't want him to leave home. She wanted that control over him, and it destroyed his life. That's my baby brother. She was so desperate to control our lives that as adults, if my older brother didn't go in the service, she would have that control. I had to sit there and take her to court to get her off of me so I could be. And my younger brother was left, and he didn't have the strength, and she ruined his life. No parent, when your child becomes an adult, you have no more strings on them. You really don't. You have to let them finish growing up. I can disagree with my sons on some of their decisions or people that they like or they want to be with. I ask them why. We have an open discussion about this. And they asked me what I think, and I said, what I think doesn't matter. If you want this person, remember, this is a decision you're going to make. You're going to have to live with it for the rest of your life. But I have given my sons strict orders. You do not bring anybody into my home. This is my sanctuary. This is a place where you close that door and the world out there stays there. And this is where you can decompress and you have the peace of mind and you have your center. Chocolate chip. I just made chocolate fudge. All right, the rice is boiling. Turn it down to a simmer. When it absorbs all of that fluid, I will test the rice, and if it's not done, I'll add a little bit more to it. So I start off with that amount. Okay? I told you I'm not going to answer you, and you're digging too deep. We're making some rice. I wanted to make jasmine rice, but I don't have rose water to do it. I have to go to a Middle Eastern store to get that. We're making rice with mushrooms and scallions right now. We made kale with bacon, and we've got fried shrimp. And that's what we're having today. So some parents don't like losing the control. But once my sons grew up, I told them, I can listen to you. You can ask me my advice. I'm not controlling your life. You have to make these decisions on your own. I'm in America, in New York. You don't know Castro zip. You know some of the escapades of my life. But part of that you will never walk into. There's a point that I go and I'm going to put the stop there. I do a lot of talking about things that I've experienced and gone through, but there's a point I say, you're not going any further. But always remember, people influence you in your life. I had with my mother. I hope it's over with. But from what I've heard, it's not over with. I got to come back. Actually, you made a mistake. I was brought to this earth because it took a father and a mother to create me. Not a mother, and she wasn't the only influence in my life. I had a lot of people who brought all of this around full circle. I'm waiting for the rice, it's simmering. Oh yeah, I've got to feed my cultures too. I forgot that. Now we're checking. It's almost dry, and then I'm going to test them and see how far along they have cooked. And if it needs more fluid, we'll add just a little at a time to make sure that we don't make them soggy. Buttercup. Sorry. Buttercup. I just thought of Buttercup. My mother was the Punisher. I don't know if it made me resilient. Maybe I got tired of being hit. But she could say one thing about me. I do not have a criminal record. Okay. I gotta wait for that, so I better get some water. Now, because I'm using whey, it sort of leaves a cream on the rice. So the rest of, I'm thinning it out now, I'll be adding water. Okay. This is not my spoon for that. Okay, we'll move you over here and we'll keep going. I could have done all this together at the same time. I didn't feel like doing that. That's right. They're always hit. Aren't we all survivors? If I had parents that didn't punish me, I would question if they loved me. And I know I would not be the responsible person that I am today. Okay. So that's the luggage that I talked about. When couples come together, that's the luggage we carry, is our past, the punishments and people walk into our life and have influenced us and everything else. That rice is not done, but it needs a little more salt. I'm going to bring it back up to a boil. We're going to steam this. Turn it back down. Let that steam a bit. The rice was not done at all. Halfway, probably. All right. Okay. Thank you, Blitz. I think, yeah. Bizarro. I think I said your name right. Thank you. You mean your medicine? I don't take medication. Okay. Yeah, they should be today, because you can see how being soft for your children, what you've got. So maybe that discipline and stuff is very important. You know, the Bible does speak about discipline. They do state, if you spare the rod, and that's what they used to whip us with, you spoil the child, and that's what we have got. Atlanta, Georgia. Hi, Mary. Oh, they fight all the time on this. Hi, Julius. Okay. But I have dishes to do, and then I'll start picking up around the house and get another room cleaned for the day. Okay. Oh, Candy, we made fried shrimp, kale with bacon, and now we took mushrooms and scallions and we're putting it with rice and cooking it in stock and water, and we're going to see how it comes out. Hello, Tammy. I have to keep an eye on this rice. We just go back and forth with this rice. I like the color scheme of nothing else. I like the mushrooms with the scallions. I just took some and just started chopping, so I don't know. It just depends on how much you're making. All right. It's almost done, but I do like the color of the mushrooms and that earthy flavor that it's going to give it. Oh, yeah. She was a disciplinarian. In her time, I had a cat named Coco. That was my first cat a long time ago. A baby kitten. They were so afraid because I was a little girl drinking milk that Coco would take my breath. This is their time frame. We're above 32. Hey, man, it's almost summer at that point. Next week we'll be back in the teens. We had kale with bacon, and we got rice with mushrooms and working on that right now. And we have fried shrimp with poultry seasoning. And I don't remember what I put, but I know it has sage in it and dill in it. It smelled so good. I said, well, why not? You know? Everybody raises their children differently, Blondie. Just because you don't believe in punishment, maybe go stand in a corner or something, doesn't work for all children. Some children need to be disciplined. And I'm glad I was disciplined because I like the person that I came out to be. So in spite of all the whippings, all the terror of my mother chasing me when I was trying to run away from her, because when she got the belt, everybody ran. But people can disagree. I'm glad. I have responsibilities. I'm not spoiled. Hi, Sarah. So it doesn't work for everybody, but it works for the majority of children. And listen, I don't care what you say about punishment. BCW says about punishment. I don't care what my neighbors think about punishment. The Bible is very specific. If you spare that rod, that means what you punish your children with, you're in trouble. You spare the rod, you have a spoiled child who thinks they can have a tantrum. You see him in court. I didn't do that. Everybody saw you. No, you didn't see straight. I'm not that kind of person. Oh, please, come off of it. No, they're not different, Blondie. The computers might be faster. Cars might be faster. Transportation might be faster. Instant food might. But when it comes down to the very root of the issues, if you didn't have the fast cars and you didn't have the computer and you had to do everything, there would be a lot of punishment going on because you could not afford your child to do something or they wouldn't survive. Every year we lost a student. Every year a child died in that town because they didn't listen, and it was always a parent who did not punish. God is very explicit about that. Take that rod, and as they would say, the old people, I'll crack it over your head. Well, it's usually your backside that got cracked over. And some punishments, if they were severe, it was because you scared the hell out of your parents. And they were so frightened, they were mad. And I've done that too. Got on that motorcycle. You're welcome, Beckon. No, you don't need me as a principal. You need a man as a principal. My parents said it point blank. This is how I was raised. That principal, when you're not home, is your father. You see that teacher? And they said it right in front of them. That is your mother. If you don't listen to her, he's going to hit you. And then when you get home, I'm going to hit you. I don't have any place to go. So you don't need women as principals. You need men, strong men. That's what you need. You don't need wimps. And as they used to say, a mama's boy. No, you need a real man who stands up and does his job, if he likes it or not. Blondie, you can. I said you can disagree with the Bible. The Bible is very specific. So you're not arguing with me. You'll be arguing with God. So if you wish to take that argument and send it that way, by all means, please do. I'm going to try. Go ahead. I don't care. I love the way the women stand up for each other. See, I'm not going to stand up. I'm going to stand up for what I know. Maybe to you it might be nothing, but that's how I perceive. Because being a female, of course, the female, you can talk to a younger girl, it's going to be well. But a male, and those hormones are kicking in, he doesn't need a woman. He needs a man. That's why we have male principals, not women. And the younger children, they make the association as the principal as the father and the teacher as the mother. That's why they had women with the younger children. Matter of fact, we didn't even have male teachers until I think we've gotten to junior high school, because that's when the hormones started kicking in for the males and they get more aggressive and it takes a man to part them. Now, a principal cannot separate two young males. Oh, I don't care, Quartz. I don't care. At least I'm a woman and I know what a woman is. You are trying to be a man. I really don't care. I think that's what upsets a lot of females is I don't care. I don't care what you think. You can call me a sexist. You're not equal to a man. Get two male teenagers fighting, and we'll throw you in the middle and see if you can part them and drag them apart. Your arms aren't even strong enough to do it. All you got is a mouth. Female police officers, it takes 3 or 4 and they're having trouble bringing down a man. Another male cop comes and he grabs them and flips them to the ground right away. Then the women have to say thank you, and then they handcuff them. Really? You're going to tell me? Very, very wrong. The rice is halfway decent, believe it or not. But remember, I grew up in my time frame. You grew up in this so-called fake liberation, trying to destroy men. All right, I need another bowl. Like you say, women can now serve in the military. They were serving in World War II, too. And they were serving before then, too. So, nothing new. It's just that you want to say that I'm as good as a man. No, you're not. And you'd probably also sit there and say phrases like, my body, my choice, too. Here it is. We did it. No, not mad. Okay, Betty. Here is the rice with the scallion. Well, the scallion seems to have disappeared in here, but we got the mushrooms. We can see the mushrooms. That's it. Sandy, you should pat yourself on this one. It's an unusual flavor, a different flavor. But anyway, that's it. Okay, so listen, all of you take care. Enjoy your day to the fullest today. That's right. I don't depart. Of course, I'm not as sad. You're just the young old crew. You're so old at your age, you probably hate your own sex and you wish you could be a man. But a woman like you will not have a blessed year or a blessed life. But anyway, we'll ignore Quartz. She can leave. We don't need her. But the rest of you have a great day. Enjoy the weather. Next week is going to be cold again. All right? So, I don't care what any of you say. I talk about my life. I'm not talking about yours. Bye bye.